Hello. Uh, Welcome to the week of the celebration of Pentecost. This week, to celebrate Pentecost, we have a fun little craft activity, and thanks so much for joining me. So, in the celebration of Pentecost, we celebrate the arrival of the Holy Spirit. And in this story, a bunch of Christian people were gathered in one place, and they experienced a wind, and then people started speaking all in their own languages. And there's a lot of symbolism in this story, and we can choose to focus on different parts, but the wind is one of the key pieces that we're going to focus on today. So that breath energy of the Holy Spirit. And so the wind is kind of a great symbol because it allows us to have that comparison of something that we feel and we experience, but we can't directly visually see. So we can see evidence of wind when trees move or our laundry flaps in the breeze, right? We can feel the evidence of the wind on our skin, on our faces. Sometimes that's a really wonderful feeling when it's hot like this. And sometimes it's not such a pleasant feeling when it's really cold out. But for better for worse, we see evidence of it, we feel it, but we can't see it directly. And so I think that's a really great analogy for the Holy Spirit. It's not part of the Trinity that there was ever visual evidence of, in the same way that people got to interact with Jesus as a person or even receive signs from God in the Old Testament, but through things like a burning bush. But we feel the Holy Spirit alive in us, and that fire-like breath energy that we have when we remember and connect with it is something that we can really have a very positive impact on our life. So we're making a pinwheel. So if you were to buy a pinwheel at a store, like a Dollarama, this is what they look like. Whee, and around they go. So they're a lot of fun. You can put them in your garden or maybe hang them from a fruit tree to try to keep the birds away. Run through fields and let them spin. They're very freeing. So this is what a store-bought one looks like. So we're going to try and make our own. So I have made well, that's not even true. This is not my first attempt. This is my second attempt. But it works. It spins around, and it doesn't require a sharp pin. So that makes it good as a craft for kids. So I think through some trial and error, I've got it figured out enough to share with you. So the first thing you need is a piece of cardstock or Bristol board. A foam sheet also works. I tried with I tried with construction paper my first time, and that's the one that didn't work. So I highly recommend using something stiffer than construction paper in order for this project to work. So you start, here's an 8.5 by 11, but we need a square. So like lots of origami things, when you want a square, you take your corner and fold so you have a square, and then you can cut along this line. So you can see I'm mostly started here. I've cut along this line, whoop, and then I have this little extra little strip, and we're going to save that. We're actually going to use that piece a little bit later. So we have a triangle, and then I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to fold it again the other way, making a nice strong crease. Okay, so you want this to be as evenly folded as you can to make even sections for your pinwheel so it spins nicely. So once you have your square with an X folded in it, you're going to cut along your folds up into an inch from within the center. So you can see I put a black marker there so you can see easily where we're going to cut. I might actually start with my hole in the center. So you need a hole punch. I have one of these. Mine's not super strong, and it's not super deep. So I can't make this hole going into the center. I have to do it with it folded up. So you have to kind of guesstimate about half so you don't end up with a giant hole, but a little bit extra big hole is not the worst. So we're gonna push it. Oh, there we go. So when I open it up, I've got a hole. I can see you, but you can't see me. And then we're gonna cut up those lines in towards the center. So this next part, after I cut in the lines, is where we fold in the corners to make the pinwheel. Oh, we're gonna hole punch first, and then we're gonna fold in the corners to make the pinwheel. And how you stick them down is another slightly little tricky part I found for this craft. So in my recommendations, in my research online, I saw a stapler. I have a little mini stapler that's like this big, and I don't know, it's bulky. I found it didn't work great. It's what I used on this one. So like I made it work, but it was quite challenging to not rip or bunch my pinwheel to get it in and fold the pieces. So the other recommendation I saw online was glue dots. I'm not crafty enough to just like have that at my house, but if you do, that's the recommendation. What I do have is a glue gun. So this time I'm trying a new method. So here's hoping it works on video. I'm gonna try with the glue gun and hope that that simulates glue dots. I think white glue would take a long time to dry and gets messy, and a glue stick is like not quite strong enough for cardstock. So we'll see how we do with the hot glue. All right, so then we have our four corners. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our hole punch and we're gonna punch one corner on each of the like petals. Okay, but you wanna punch the same corner in all four petals. You can see I lost my focus and have an extra hole. It doesn't ruin the pinwheel, but it, the other thing you want to make sure you do is you don't go so close to the tip that it rips. Okay, you want to go in a little bit and make your punch like that. So see, I'm not too far from the edge. There's a little extra. I'm not worried about it ripping. Okay, so now I'm going to make a few more of those. Ha-cha. So recently, Rosa and I had a driveway visit with our friends Helen and her family, who some of you may know. And we, she had several pinwheels in her garden in the boulevard, and Rosa loved playing with them. So I'm really excited for her to get to play with this pinwheel. So there I have my holes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my holes to line up with the center hole. Okay, so this is where you want some precision. So you're not going to crease this. You want the flap to stay rounded. So you line it up, and then I'm going to break out my glue gun here. So just a tiny bit, because I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm going to glue that and hold it for a second. And so obviously lining the first one up is easier, but lining them up gets more progressively challenging. Although, to be honest, I think it's going to be easier with the glue gun than it was. As I tried to maneuver the stapler in, I often found my holes would come misaligned in that process. So I'm hoping the glue gun is is the answer. As always, if you're working with a glue gun, make sure you have somebody who has the motor skills to do that and not burn their fingers, or has some help and supervision. I burnt my fingers on my last project and it didn't feel nice. So, okay, we're up to 3 corners here. I'm on my 3rd one. This is going way better than with the stapler. Maybe you have a better stapler. Maybe that'll go really smooth for you, but it didn't for me. Full disclosure. So, all right. I'm almost there. Thank you for your patience. Oh, lost my extra glue stick. That glue gun is such a handy dandy tool with crafts. All right, so here we have it. I have my pinwheel. I've glued all the pieces and there's a little hole that goes through. So I chose red because red is like the iconic color of Pentecost. You could choose to color and decorate your pinwheel before you fold it. Flames, doves, words in many languages, maybe if you know more than one language, or you could research on the internet different words for peace, or different words for love, or different words for spirit, or different, the words for that in different languages. That would be really cool things to write on your pinwheel. So remember I told you that we weren't going to totally discard this extra piece. So its time has come. So what you're going to do is you're going to make 2 little 1-inch circles on your piece of paper. Now you can draw those freehand, or if you're the kind of person who likes to trace something, the size of like a glue stick lid is probably the right size. So you put that down and you trace. I'll be honest, at this size didn't trace very well. I might as well have drawn them freehand, but I have 2 that are ready. So you can see they're not perfect circles. This isn't astrophysics. We don't need to be super precise, but these are going to serve as bearings and help the pinwheel spin better. So I'm going to punch the hole in the middle, and punch the other hole in the middle. Okay, right there. Okay, so then I need the stick that I attach everything to, okay, and a pipe cleaner. You probably actually only need half a pipe cleaner, so this is the half from my prototype. We cut it in half. If you don't want your chopstick back, then perhaps I guess if you have disposable chopsticks left over from takeout, or if you have paper straws, were a recommendation. So maybe you just find a stick outside. All of those things work. So what you're going to do is you're going to wrap your pipe cleaner around your stick de choix. Okay, so you're confident it's not going to come off. And then you're going to put things on in this order. You have first a bearing, like a washer. And then your pinwheel. So you want the side facing out where the wind is going to catch. Okay, and you slide that on. And then we're going to slide on our second bearing. You don't want to push these so tight that they don't have room to spin, okay? Leave it a little bit loose. And then with the extra pipe cleaner, you could probably trim that. I don't need it quite as long as I have it. And then you can just kind of form it into a little knob on the end. So I'm just going to twist it around. Pipe cleaner is great for that. Not worried about the pokey edge because it's soft and fuzzy. Okay, and here we have it. We have made a pinwheel. So if you're worried about the strength of your pipe cleaner, maybe pipe cleaners are not all created equal. I saw a recommendation to use a pony bead in behind if you want to leave enough space for that pony bead, so there's more room to spin. So get my fingers out of the way. Oh, I made mine too tight. I need to give my bearings a little more space so it goes around. Here we go. Away from the edge and away around it goes. So yeah, having that pony bead to separate it from the stick, I think might be another little key because their washers are so thin. But there you go, a pinwheel. We can run and enjoy the park and these breezy, sunny, summer-like days feeling and celebrate Pentecost. So thanks for joining. I hope your craft works out. If you would like if you live locally and don't have access to some of the materials, send me a message and I will happily drop off some cardstock or lend you my glue gun or whatever it takes to help you make this craft. So thanks so much for joining me and happy Pentecost.